Hey guys, it's Cody and Chris with After 5 Outdoors. Today we're going to be talking about the newer Tacticam Reveal X trail camera. Now we purchased a few of these this year. We use them mainly for bear hunting and deer hunting and just taking some general pictures too. A lot of cool features with this trail cam and a lot of things that make your hunting season a little easier, more convenient. It's a great resource for building a hunt. Chris here is kind of our techno guru on After 5 Outdoors, and he's going to talk about some of the pros and cons about the Tacticam Reveal X and some of his experience. He purchased a few earlier this year, and I just purchased this one a couple weeks ago. We're going to unbox it. We're going to kind of go through setup a little bit, and some things about the Tacticam Reveal X that we found that's helped us out, and maybe a couple of things that maybe be a couple of pitfalls, but not really. They've worked pretty good.
They're very reliable for the price point.
So especially in our area where we live and where we hunt, phone signal, as these are cell cameras, phone signal is usually pretty limited. So, you know, it's worked out really well for us.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's cut this thing open, and why don't you just tell us a little bit about it?
Okay, so let's go over some of the functions first of the Tacticam Reveal X. Now, most cameras that we deal with out in the field are going to have their little toggle switches or digital menus that you mess with. The Tacticam Reveal X is actually made very simple in that regard, that you can actually use an application on your phone to set the settings in the field and aim the camera. Another feature that it does not have that most of your trail cameras have is it lacks an LCD screen on the actual camera.
They axed that from the previous model, right?
That is correct.
Right.
The Generation 1 had an LCD screen. It's a little difficult to aim it in the field because you had to close the camera and open it back up because it was on the inside of the camera. With this one, you log into the application, connect to the Wi-Fi. Now the inside door has all of your Wi-Fi name and password settings that comes from the factory with. And once you connect to its Wi-Fi, it'll give you a live picture of where your camera is currently pointed.
Kind of has a crosshair in it, doesn't it?
Yes, it also has a red line that goes across where the IR and the motion detector are at their optimal settings.
Right, because there's nothing more hateful than setting a camera up and coming back, or I guess you don't have to come back and check it like the old ones, but getting a message on your phone and looking at it and seeing the feet of a bear or feet of a deer, and the rest of the deer is out of the frame of the camera.
Absolutely. So you can go next to where your target area is at, take a test picture, make sure it's going to send. However, in a lot of the areas that we've been, we can't get that picture till we come out of the area, right, because we don't have very good cell signal.
This thing will get service and send the picture, but your phone doesn't actually have service because you're in a bad area. So
exactly, you're kind of working against yourself in that respect.
Now, can you, if you're out in the field and you're want to send a test picture, you can't like Bluetooth it to this and get it right off of your camera. You have to have phone service on your phone, right? No,
you have to have service to your phone in order to get the picture to come. Now, one of the biggest drawbacks to this camera, it's a glitch in their programming that I found, is that whenever you get back into some of those really remote areas and you're setting up your camera, you have to get into the app on your phone in order to connect to the camera's Wi-Fi. You can connect it via your phone, but in order to see the feed from your camera, you have to be inside the application. So the application works on a cell network though, correct? So whenever you go to get into the application, sometimes it kicks you out, you have to sign back in, and I found that sometimes without cell signal, it automatically kicks you out, it logs you out of the app. Well, you can't log back in because you don't have any cell signal.
Right.
So it's kind of like catch-22. You want to be able to see your camera, you want to do the settings, but you can't log into the app to be able to modify it at all or see where the camera is pointing. So that in and of itself kind of defeats that purpose. There have been people that have had that issue. I've found that sometimes turning my phone to airplane mode will keep it from kicking me out of the app, but sometimes that doesn't work either. So that's one of the major cons to that particular.
This camera will still store pictures to the SD card.
Absolutely, and that's another very good feature of this camera, is that it's going to store to the SD card. It's going to, even if you don't have cell signal, it'll still work as a regular trail cam. However, whenever you don't have cell signal to your phone, this will let you know whether it's got cell signal or not. It's got some bars here that light up whenever you turn the camera on, and it'll start looking for signal, and it'll let you know how many bars of signal that you've got. It also, you can hit the test button, and it'll send you a test picture. Now, you may not be able to get it in the field, but you'll be able to see what the picture is going to look like whenever you finally get cell signal.
Right. So when we're talking about cons, what would be another con of the Reveal X?
Well, one of the biggest ones that I've read about and that I've seen, I've worked around it though, is that it doesn't send you every picture that it takes. So all your trail cameras have a burst mode. You can take 1 picture, you can take 3 pictures, 5 pictures. In this particular camera, whenever you have it in some sort of burst mode, let's say 3 for instance, it will take a series of 3 pictures, but it's only going to send you the middle of those 3 pictures. So you don't know if something came by quick, you're not going to see what set it off in the beginning, you're not going to see what set it off in the end. You may get what's in the middle, you're really not sure because you're not seeing the whole story there.
So there's not really any way, let's say you're sitting on your couch watching TV and a deer walks by, there's no way to go to your phone and actually go through all the pictures that are on the camera.
No, and in a lot of instances, you have to actually go out and retrieve the card to see every picture that was taken in that burst. The way I've worked around it though is by putting it on 1 picture. So when it goes off, it takes the first picture, and then I put it on a 0-second delay. So, but there's still a drawback to that because the camera will take its picture, and then it has to upload the picture via the cellular network, and depending on your signal, might take a little bit, and then the camera has to reset for the next picture. So you may, if you've got really good signal, you may get a picture, 2 pictures a minute. But if you have really poor signal, you may only get 1 picture every 3 minutes.
Right.
And in fact, that's what I saw with my bear this past week, is my cell cam was looking at the bait. It activated when the bear first came out. And then, of course, I didn't see the bear come in because it was so thick, so I'm getting my camera ready and everything. The bear turns around and comes back in. It never reactivated from the point that the bear first came in to the point that it came back to the bait. And that was probably a good 4 minutes of time in between the shot and it initially coming in. So it missed quite a bit of action that was going on, but that's because it's lower cell signal, and it's going to take time for it to upload that first picture.
And you know, that's what we were talking about earlier. If you're putting a trail camera out in the woods for hunting, you know, depending on the area you're in, likely you're not going to have real great phone service. So that can be a drawback, but when this thing works, it really does help you out planning your hunt. You know, like for bear hunting, for us, a lot of these bigger bears up here, they're nocturnal. You know, we can tell what time they're in there. We can tell generally we can tell how long they're there roughly, and you know, we can tell when they get there, we can tell when they leave. So that kind of helps us out, but there is some drawbacks to it. But for the most part, it actually really helps us out. Can this camera take video?
Yes, it does take video, and everything that I've seen online, things people have posted, the videos are very good quality. However, it does not send video to your phone. So in order to get those videos, once again, you have to retrieve the card. Which
isn't the end of the world, but I suppose it's, one thing is signal and data and all that stuff too. Like, so you can get these cameras, you can get them on the Verizon network, you can get them on the AT&T network. For us up here, Verizon's the way to go. AT&T is pretty poor. What are some of what's it cost to run one of these a month?
Well, of course, you have the off-the-shelf. It's going to cost around $119 if you go to one of their retailers. Cabela's, Shields, Gander Mountain.
I think Gander Outdoors is where I got mine. Yep.
Gander Outdoors. If you go through Tacticam, they're marked at $140. And then the cell plans, the highest cell plan they have is $13 a month. Now that's a charge per camera. And whenever you compare that to the cost of some of the more expensive cameras, say $300 to $500 for a cellular trail cam, that's a lot of months at $13 a month.
Right, right.
So it kind of evens out. And granted, it doesn't have all the features that some of those cameras have, but it still gives you the ability to put a cell cam in the woods, get pictures, and not having to go in and out of your hunting area.
And pretty decent pictures, really.
Absolutely. So the pictures that come to your phone are going to be 8 megapixel, but the card itself is going to have 16 megapixel pictures. And the Reveal X, one of the new features that it has, is that for an extra charge, I believe it's like $5 for 50 pictures or something like that, it will send you the high definition pictures to your phone, but it is at an extra charge on top of the $13 a month.
So basically we wouldn't use that because why spend that extra money when we're going to go out and, you know, go out to our bait or whatever anyway and get the card. So I mean, yeah, it's handy, but is it necessary? For us, probably not.
To me, not really. You know, there are some people that really want those really high resolution trail cam pictures. Sometimes if you want to have a buck that's further away that doesn't come into the camera, you might want to get that HD picture in so you can tell whether it's the buck of a lifetime or not. But for the most part, an 8 megapixel picture to your phone is more than enough to be able to tell what you have coming in.
So one real quick thing about these, durability. So we put them in a Ranger, we put them in the Honda, whatever, and we're driving 4 or 5 miles, they're bouncing around. And this isn't really a huge thing, but so far they've been pretty durable. We've not had any antennas break. We've not, you know, bears have messed with a couple of them.
We did have some bears came in and messed with one. It just flopped it around a little bit, but didn't tear it off the tree. We've been very lucky in that respect. And they do make bear box or security boxes for them, so you do have them on bear baits. However, in those security boxes, they don't protect the antenna.
Right.
So that's going to be the most important part of your
weather.
camera.
How's it been in weather?
In weather, it's been fantastic. Generation 1, they had some issues with the lenses fogging because there was a bad seal in most of the cameras between the antenna and the camera itself. I haven't seen that at all in any of the Reveal X's.
And we've had some pretty good rainstorms here in the past few weeks, and we've not noticed any issues with that.
No issues whatsoever. While we're talking about pictures, though, there is one more feature that's very important in this camera to me, because I don't like going back in to retrieve cell cam or trail camera cards, right? So what this camera does is a feature called SD card looping. So what it does is it'll fill up the entire SD card, and once that SD card, it'll send you a message that says your SD card's getting full, but as long as you have SD card looping turned on it, it'll start deleting your oldest pictures to take newer ones above it. So it's just a continuous loop. You can leave it in the field for a year if you want to, and it's just going to sit there and keep looping that SD card over and over again.
Battery life. How has battery life been?
Battery life has been fantastic on both the Generation 1s and the Reveal X's. They suggest that you use some of the Energizer lithium batteries to keep them going in colder weather, but which we haven't seen them in colder weather yet.
Right, we haven't really used them in the wintertime yet, and that's something that we are going to test. And if you guys want to see a test on something on this, drop it in the comments, let us know, and we'll put these things to the test.
Absolutely. There are some lithium battery aftermarket features for it where you can hook up an external battery or a larger battery to it. Tacticam also just came out with solar panels for it that have a lithium battery integrated into it that you can plug into one of these things so it can run continuously. And then of course they've teased the new camera that's coming out here soon. It's called the Reveal SK, which supposedly has an integrated solar panel in it already.
And I would assume that's going to be more than 120 bucks.
Oh, everything I've read has said that it's going to be somewhere in the realm of 300.
Right. So let's open this thing up real quick. So this is the model that we've been using. It's kind of greasy from bear baiting, but okay. So we got it open, and that's part of that. So you got an instruction manual.
Very simple to set up. Everything is pretty self-explanatory once you figure out how to hook up the Wi-Fi.
So you got your antenna, your camera body, and you got this thing, which would be your strap for mounting it to a tree. Now real quick, Chris, do you want to talk while I'm doing this? Do you really want to talk quick about that mount?
Absolutely. So this is something that we bought with all of our Reveals. It's a tree mount bracket made by HME. It's very simple. It screws right into a tree, screws into the bottom of the camera. You can angle the bracket up, down, left, right, whatever you want to do with it. Very flexible. They also make T-post mounts for the camera. There's all sorts of mounts.
Right, I saw a bunch when I was at Shields when I picked this one up.
Correct, and this one only costs about $9.
Yep, $9, yep.
So, it makes it very simple to set it up. Also, whenever you got those trees that are at a weird angle or leaning over your trail, you don't want to try and shove sticks behind it to bring the camera out level with the trail. So to throw this on there and be able to level that camera out very easily.
Very handy.
Saves time.
And one thing that we really use it for is for bear baiting, specifically because bears like to tear stuff down.
Absolutely.
So it works really well for that. Chris has got them up off the ground a little bit and angled them, and our pictures have been pretty good.
They've been absolutely fantastic. But I will say for deer, the manufacturer suggests that you mount them only at about waist high. And that's because of the angle that the IR sensors are at. Whenever you put them up at that high elevated angle and point them down, it's not really optimal for them. And also, you get a windstorm coming in, and I had this happen during this bear season. The grass starts moving, and it just starts setting off the camera. You end up with 2 pictures a minute for an entire day.
And I don't think that's exclusive to Tactacam. That's pretty much with any camera. You get something moving in front of it, it's going to snap some pictures.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So first, you're going to want to start by turning your Reveal on to the setup mode. Now when it turns on, you're going to have your green status bar that kicks on. It senses the SD card, checks your battery, it's looking for cell signal, and then that blue dot means that it's searching for a Wi-Fi user to hook up to. Now if I get into my phone and go to the settings and check the Wi-Fi, it'll show that I am now connected to the Reveal. Going back, I'll get into the app, and here in the app, I'll go to my account, and you can see it's trying to pull up my account. What a lot of people have found that makes this go a little quicker is to turn off your network and go into an airplane mode. Now it's going to show you that you're experiencing bad signal, but it causes everything to populate really quick. So then you'll go to Connect to Reveal X or SK, and you'll get a live feed of Cody behind the camera. So what this is going to be is the field of view for your camera, and there's a red line that goes right through the middle of it. That's your optimal IR positioning, okay, or motion sensing positioning. Once you have your camera positioned, you can, from this, go ahead and format your SD card if you want to, or you can go to your camera settings. And your camera settings are going to be all right here. Your image size, that's the image that's going to the SD card, not what's being sent to you. What's being sent to you from your camera is going to be 8 megapixel. The SD card will store up to 16 megapixel pictures. It's also going to have your motion sensitivity. This particular camera I had set on 1, and that's because we didn't set up the camera to the manufacturer specifications. You're not supposed to set them up at a downward angle. They want them down low, 3 to 4 feet from the ground, level, so that you're going to be catching those deer as they walk by. You also have a work timer, delay, your SD card loop, flash power. There's a minimal night blur if you want to put a minimal blur setting on your camera. You have your settings check. So what the camera does is it checks in with your app either daily, instant. Now if you have that set to instant, it's going to drain your battery relatively quickly because it's always checking the app to see if you've updated it. Daily means it's going to check in once a day to see if you've changed anything in your app. And then it also has your video size, whether up to 1080p, so it does take high definition video. Video time, so how long you want your video to be for, the type of battery that you're running in it, and then also a check-in picture. It's always good to set a check-in picture so you know your camera is hooked up and it's working. So it's going to send that check-in picture twice daily. And that's how you set up a Tactacam Reveal X in the field. It's really very simple once you get hooked up with your phone.
So basically, in a nutshell, that's the Tactacam Reveal X. Would you recommend this camera to a friend?
Absolutely. For the price point of this camera, you can't go wrong. I've spent more on cameras that took really bad pictures and had no cellular capability whatsoever.
Right.
And this particular camera comes in at a slightly higher price point. By slightly higher, I mean 30 bucks, and takes amazing pictures to the SD card, and you get a notification anytime something walks by it. So where do you go wrong? At $119, definitely worth the money.
Well, hope this video helped you out a little bit. If it did, hit that thumbs up button. Any questions, comments, you can leave them down in the comments. We'll put a link in the description to the Tactacam Reveal X and also this trail camera mount arm from HME. Pretty actually made pretty well too. I mean, it's not like real cheap. So I mean, these things have been pretty good for us. So
Absolutely, those things are
we'll throw a
money.
link in the description to that too. Hope you can get out and enjoy God's great outdoors, and we will see you on the next one.